What is going on YouTube? And welcome back to my channel, JoJo Speaks. Thank y'all so much for joining me. This being my review for RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10, and this is episode 5. We're in episode 5 right now, you guys, and this was a pretty spicy episode, at least in my opinion, especially what's going on between Mistress Isabel Brooks and Nicole Page Brooks. But we've ended the previous episode, episode 4. The bottom 4 girls come back into the workroom, and then come in Tina Burner and Lydia Butthole Collins, and they're discussing how they're going to deal out these MVQ points, these most valuable queen points amongst each other. And Nicole says, well, it was my birthday the other day, and, nobody got me nothing. So if all of y'all give me y'all points, you know what I'm saying? I'll be very, very, very appreciative of that. And then the discussion of them just swapping points, everyone giving everyone a point. I believe it's Mistress that's expecting a point from Nicole Page Brooks, and Nicole Page Brooks will get her point from Mistress, and vice versa with Carrie Colby and Georges. And so initially, Nicole Page Brooks was going to give her point to Carrie, but then Mistress spoke up, was like, hey, 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 wait a minute. No, no, we family. You're supposed to be giving me your point, girl. And so then, Nicole Page Brooks obliges, and Nicole's like, you're going to give me your point. And then, Mistress is like, well, actually, Carrie, why don't you go ahead and give out your point? So Carrie gives her point to Georges. And so, they're thinking that, Mistress is going to give her point to Nicole, and Georges is going to give her point to Carrie. And then, Mistress says, like we said, we're going to keep it in the family, but we're not related. So she turns to Georges and gives her point to Georges. And then Georges gives her point to Mistress. And so now Mistress and Georges are tied with 2 points apiece, also tying with Tina Burner. And then Lydia has 3 points, and both Nicole and Carrie have 0 points. So I thought that was quite shady, but that's how you got to play the game, especially when you only have 3 episodes to try to get enough points to make it into the semifinals. And so that was a very smart thing for Mistress to do. Now, the only thing about that is she's got to make sure that her and Georges are in the top for at least one of the 2 remaining episodes, because nobody's going to give them a point if they don't make it to the top 2. So there's that. But anyways, then we get back to the next episode. Nicole Page Brooks is still a little salty, which is understandable. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Here's my thing about Nicole Page Brooks. I just want to say this out really quickly. I was glad to see Nicole Page Brooks back. I love seeing queens from the older seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race come back for All Stars. Queens that we have not seen in a long time. I was so excited about Phoenix coming back. I'm excited about Acid Betty being back in the next bracket. However, I am not the biggest fan of Nicole Page Brooks's drag. I feel like her wigs are a little lackluster, and her makeup is barely there. And it's like, it's you know, I wish she did more, and I hope that she does more after this season of All Stars. So, anyways, the girls come back into the workroom. Lydia Butthole Collins is trying to be adopted by Mistress Isabel Brooks. And, Mistress says, well, since you won last week, and you know what I'm saying, you're in the family now. And Nicole Page Brooks is like, girl, like you're just throwing your name out there all willy-nilly, to anybody who asks. Because, if you guys watch season 15 of RuPaul's Drag Race, Mistress sort of kind of in a sideways kind of way adopted Sugar and Spice, the twins from that season. And so, Nicole is like, you're supposed to be a Brooks. You're supposed to be, holding homage for your name, girl. You're just giving it out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry out here, girl. What are you doing? And, Mistress is like, oh, well, you're upset that I'm giving the top girl my name. It's like, we know this is not serious. Like, we know Mistress is not serious about this whole family thing. Like, I'm sure she don't give a damn about Lydia Butthole Collins. I'm sure the only reason she's doing this is to gain some favoritism in case she needs her further on down the line. But anyways, it is what it is. So we find out that the maxi challenge for this week is a rapping roast. And so, I really didn't pay that much attention to the roast itself. However, it's Mistress and Georges who end up being in the top two. Nicole Page Brooks did pretty good as well. However, I didn't necessarily connect with her lyrics that much. I thought Tina did a pretty good job as well. I understand what Michelle was saying about there being too many words in it. Um, Carrie, like I get that Carrie wanted to do something different by not naming any names. However, it's a roast, and so unless you're saying someone's fat, meaning Mistress, or someone's really young in the game, meaning Lydia Beho Collins, someone's a little older in the game, meaning Nicole Page Brooks, someone's really short and kind of dumb, which is Georges, and someone's got shoulders like a linebacker, being Tina Burner. I mean, unless you're being that obvious, you've got to name names, and so I fully understand why Carrie didn't get the highest marks from the judges, which is a little disappointing to me because I guess I kind of expected for Carrie to do a lot better than she is doing, but whatever. It's clear that Carrie's probably not going to make it into the semifinals, which is unfortunate. But hey, when you got other girls like Mistress Isabel Brooks here, it's kind of hard to keep up. But anyway, so. Mistress and Georges are the top two All Stars of the week. They do their lip sync, and it is a tie between Georges and Mistress Isabel Brooks. And so they're not only splitting $10,000, but they're also splitting one extra point. And so now both of them have 4.5 points. Lydia has 3 points, Tina has 2 points, and Carrie and Nicole have 0 points. So for me, it's looking like it's going to be George's Mistress and Lydia in the semifinals. And to be honest, I would not be upset with that whatsoever. I would fully be okay with those three making it into the semifinals. But what did you guys think about this episode? What did you think of Mistress and Georges's plan to get all the points? I thought that was extremely smart for both of them to do, especially considering that they only have 3 episodes to gain as many points as they possibly can. And so. What do you guys think about that? Who do you want to go into the semifinals from this bracket? Let me know down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Press that big red subscribe button. It is free and easy to do. It takes less than a second to mash that thing. So go ahead and mash it. Leave me a thumbs up. Let me know you're enjoying the content that I'm putting out on my channel. Be sure to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this episode of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 10 season 10, episode 5. And also be sure to press the notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And last but not least, share JoJo Speaks with all your family, friends, and loved ones. Let everybody know JoJo Speaks is out here in these YouTube streets. I'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out, y'all.